That song go hard, don't it? Hey, welcome to the show, everyone. Today, like it says, NFL Week 14 preview. Sorry for the late start. I had to kind of get some things reconnected there. Sucks when that happens, but it happens. Hopefully, I can still do my wrestling show still live tomorrow. But yeah, like I said, man, welcome to the show. Today, we're gonna do a Week 14 NFL preview. Kind of go down the list of all the games, get it popping, get it started. Um, Today, though, I'm gonna kind of start with a little bit of NBA news for this week. So, um, ESPN put out a very interesting list, top rankings, and listen, just go to ESPN.com/NBA. It's still up there. I believe it's by uh, Steve Wozniak, I believe, the writer of that column is. And so, as far as his top players going into the camp, going into the season, they put AD and LeBron 1 and 2. LeBron first, AD two. They had Luka Doncic in the top five. Um, they had Zion in the top 20. Listen, man, I'll be honest. I'm a little bit of a stickler for these whole power ranking things of going into the season. I usually don't pay too much attention to them, but in this case, I did because. So my first problem really is, listen, Luka is going to be that next top star. I'm not denying that. Dude's a beast. Dude is an absolute beast. He's only going to get better, but right now he doesn't always play the best defense, and sometimes he takes some of the absolute worst shots at the end of games. Now, the playoff series in the bubble was actually extremely helpful for him, and because he stepped his game up, and that's what you kind of expect of these guys is to step their game up. Um, but in the regular season, at times he has disappeared in key moments or taking really bad shots when they're trying to win games. No, listen, he's only 21 years old. He's going to be a lot better. Like I said, through the next decade or so, he's going to be probably one of your top two players in the game. Like it's not even a question. Between him, Giannis, um, I can think of some other players, Jamal Murray. Some of these guys are going to be some of the best players in the NBA for the next decade. But ranking Luka that high this early? Ah, I don't know. I guess maybe they were ranking him based on potential. And like I said, he had a hell of a playoff series in the bubble. Really awesome that people got to kind of see him on that large scale. Because not that people don't watch Dallas Maverick games, but I don't think as many people watch Dallas Maverick games. I had no problem with LeBron being number one. I'm a little hesitant to put AD2, especially with that man Kevin Durant coming back this year. But we'll see how it all goes. But yeah, and then putting Zion in the top 20. Zion is another player under 25 that will be a beast through the next decade. I can't even deny that. But once again, is that a projection of what he's going to look like coming into this new season? Or because he's got a lot of his game to work on. Athletically, he's a freak. he became a better defender, and that team overall is mostly young. Them keeping Brandon Ingram was actually a great idea. I like the young nucleus there in New Orleans. So I do think it'll be very interesting to see what happens with that team this year. I'm very excited, I should say, to see what happens with that team this year. Before I get to the caller here and to some of my messages, let me go ahead and get into NFL Week 14. Last night, Patriots just got blown out, baby. I kind of called this on my old little writing little blog spot before I decided to go ahead and move it to radio/live feed, which for those listening or those watching, the original radio shows on blogtalkradio.com/Jace Take. Otherwise, I do a live feed on YouTube that will usually go longer than the show, or the radio show. Yeah, I said it after the draft. I said it doesn't matter what quarterback he decides to pick up. The Patriots have absolutely no weapons. It did not get better after Tom Brady's last year. And then with the current COVID and pandemic situation, they had a lot of top defensive players opt out. And I told people, I'm like, listen, I think this will probably be an 8-8 football team, but Bill Belichick's ego might have gotten in the way of Bill Belichick, the GM, because, and I get it, Devin Asiasi and they think they also selected another linebacker as well. They selected 2 tight ends. I can't remember the other one's name off the top of my head. They're rookies, but the Patriots don't usually draft very well high. Because I think Belichick's kind of an old school guy. He believes in developing guys. But what Belichick has actually done better than anyone, one, they've always developed linemen very well. And then he develops corners and linebackers very well. Bill Belichick does. But defensive line is still spotty. Chase Winovich is coming along as a pass rusher. But at this point for the Patriots, I thought it might be too little too late. And they went up against a Rams team that's a buzzsaw, a Rams team that's not only trying to get to the playoffs, they're still trying to win that division, which for them is still very winnable. Probably the best division in football, at least one of the best divisions of football. Even with a struggling 49ers team, it's one of the best divisions of football. And unless you were going, I don't know if they were going to attempt to out-physical the Rams without any wide receivers. I don't know how they thought they were going to move the football. They came out, they kind of drove the field, and then they went for it on 4th and 2, where maybe Bill Belichick should have kicked the field goal. But yeah, really, the Rams from the outstart kind of dominated. Jared Goff kind of made some Jared Goff-like mistakes. His contract hit between him and, because I think the worst part of his contract is just about up for Rams fans who maybe think that they should head in a different direction. At quarterback, I've always liked Jared Goff, but I got to watch a lot of his games back in college back in, I think that was 2015, 2016. And you could just tell that he was going to be more of a pocket passer. I never blamed him for what happened his rookie year with the old Tennessee ball coach Jeff Fisher, because he's Jeff Fisher, man. Before Jason Garrett in Dallas, Jeff Fisher was the original Mr. 8-8, 9-7. Can coach the rest of a team, can't coach a quarterback for nothing, never helps his team. But yeah, he just dominated. And it wasn't going to be very hard for them to dominate without the Patriots actually getting more creative. And in the end, the Rams win that game 20-43. I'm going to go through my quick pick'ems for the rest of the week. So Titans at Jaguars. Titans are going to be looking to rebound. I got to give the Jaguars credit. They are fighting every week. Unlike my New York Jets, they are actually fighting every single week, and against good ball clubs. And sometimes the games just get away from them in the fourth quarter. But this team hasn't quit on a coach who's a lame duck coach who's going to get fired. I know Jaguar fans are kind of hoping my Jets luck out a couple of wins so they can get Trevor Lawrence. But I got the Titans winning this one probably by about 10. They're going to run Derrick Henry down the Jaguars' throats. Period. They're going to. Vikings at Bucks, I actually think might sneakily be the game of the week. Both teams desperately need this win. The Vikings, not only just to keep their playoff hopes alive, but to prove they can actually beat a winning team this year. Because, yeah, they kind of ran the Packers off the football field, and I'm sure the Packer fans want no part of Minnesota and Dalvin Cook in the playoffs as they kind of try to chase to keep up with the Saints and try to get the 1 seed, because remember this year the 1 seed is the only seed that will actually have the bye. But the Vikings pass rush has been off and on. DJ Wanham and those guys have kind of come along in the last few games, but they don't get consistent enough pressure. But the Vikings are, like, no question about it, guys. Listen, they're an offensive juggernaut. Any team that finds themselves down constantly by 14 plus points and yet in the second half finds ways on defense to stop you. They finally kind of figured out the cornerback situation. Big props to the head coach there, Mike Zimmer, who I did not think deserved a contract extension, but he's proven it. He's proven it since that bye week, putting 3 young guys in spots where they can succeed in the secondary, knowing that you have 2 very, very good safeties who can kind of cover the rest of that back end, or at least come up and zone blitz, 43 zone blitz, for them to try to get some pressure through Harrison Smith or Anthony Harris, which is what they're going to need to do. The Buccaneers, man, kind of disappointing, right? Everyone thought to themselves that the Buccaneers are just going to run over teams with Tom Brady in that backfield now. He's not going to turn the ball over as much as Jameis. Well, for everyone who doesn't know, the only person who has turned over the football more in the NFL for quarterbacks is now currently sitting on the bench in Philadelphia. Because otherwise this year, Tom Brady has been a turnover machine. I can't believe I'm going to defend Tom Brady, but part of that is not on him. A part of that is on Bruce Arians. You do got a very talented backfield. Leonard Fournette, Ronald Jones. That line has shown itself mostly capable of run blocking. The dude's 43. You should probably protect him by running the football, whatever, and protect the defense now, which is on the field way too much and getting exposed every now and then week to week. So I'm going to go with the Vikings kind of for the upset. And the only reason I'm going to go with the Vikings is because I actually have a feeling, once again, Arians is going to get, he's going to get pass happy, and Tom's going to make the bad throw that puts the game away for them. Chiefs at Dolphins should be a great game. Dolphins defense, for those who don't watch the Dolphins and kind of look at the record and go, what? It's a good football team. You could see it last year near the end of the year where they kept fighting and playing hard for a really good ball coach. I mean, he's a really good ball coach. A defense is very, very good. Even without a couple of key players, that defense is very good. They run the football decently. And Tua just, even as a rookie, you could tell right now he's got the makings of a kind of a more mobile version of like kind of Kurt Warner mixed with a little Tom Brady, mixed with a little bit of this. Like basically he's going to be a mobile quarterback that can make plays and doesn't turn over the football. I don't think he'll ever be like Russell Wilson, where the dude just makes big plays all the time. But I do think Tua will be a very good franchise quarterback for them, and he's kind of already shown it. But How can you pick against the Chiefs? I mean, Patrick Mahomes right now. Listen, Aaron Rodgers might have put the blueprint out there for a lot of these quarterbacks. Patrick Mahomes has mastered it. Patrick Mahomes is just unbelievable. And yes, they have defense deficiencies, but the fact that that team could probably put 50 on you in a heartbeat, I got to go with the Chiefs, the defending champs. Basically, until they're defeated in this year's Super Bowl or beat in the playoffs, it's hard for me to still think that they're not going to repeat. I'm sorry. It's hard for me to not think that. So I'm going to pick the Chiefs to win that game. Broncos at Panthers, I actually think will be a low-key, very good game. Both teams are coming along defensively. Both teams can run the football. Unfortunately for the Broncos, Drew Lock is just usually you can, sometimes you can look at a young quarterback's failures and you try to look at like, okay, what's the coordinator doing? What's going on? Does he have enough weapons? Well, the Broncos have weapons. They have wide receivers. They can run the football. Drew Lock just makes awful decisions. And yes, he throws them back into games in the fourth quarter, but it's almost the Jameis Winston effect of, well, you kind of already threw the game away. It's kind of hard to throw the team back into a game now that it's so far away in the fourth quarter. The Teddy Bridgewater doesn't lose games. Like, he's not going to be the reason you lose games. Sometimes he's not going to be the reason you win games. But I always like Teddy, like those wide receivers. I do believe Christian McCaffrey is playing this game. He's been hurt most of the year, but the fact that Christian is back lets me know that they'll probably split carries between him. I forget RB2 for them. They're basically going to probably try to run the football, do a lot of play action, and basically just keep the Broncos defense on the field entire amount. So I'm going to go with the Panthers in that game. We got Texans at Bears. Texans have been hot, especially since firing a dude that they gave way too much power to, Coach Bill O'Brien / former assistant GM Coach Bill O'Brien. They just gave him way too much power. I always talk about how when you give away that much power all the time to someone who hasn't really shown it, either they're probably going to sink your team, and Bill O'Brien, we will see what happens through these weeks and what the new GM does for the Texans, but they're going to have to make some moves that are going to hurt, including probably trading J.J. Watt away. I know that sounds crazy, but because they got to build that squad. They just because Deshaun Watson is too good for that squad to be that devoid of talent as they are. Like they're devoid of depth. Like when their starters get hurt, you can just tell the depth behind some of the key positions is not very good. So, but I am still going to pick them to win this game because who's going to quarterback the Bears? And it doesn't even matter anymore. This team started 5-1. The defense is still elite, but I'm sure they look to the other side and they probably just quit in games because they're like, this offense can't help us. They're not going to help us. So I'm going to go with the Texans. I think it'll be a close game because that Bears defense is championship caliber, but the Bears offense is so dang bad. Matt Nagy is going to take the brunt of that, but GM Ryan Pace deserves the brunt of that. He really does. He really does. He's kind of, especially at quarterback, he just all these years since Jim McMahon, and they haven't gotten it right. And one of the best ones they kind of had was Jay Cutler of all people. So I'm going to go with the Texans in that game. I think they'll pull out a win there. Cardinals at Giants is going to be really, 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 really good. It's fun and special to watch. Though to be fair, Kyler Murray, my bad, has not played very well recently against some better teams, and the Giants are red hot. Before he got injured, Daniel Jones had been playing well, and Joe Judge has this Giants defense playing at a very, very high level. I recently looked at the Giants' schedule, and maybe they lose one more game. I got to tell you guys, I don't think it's this one. I think the Giants actually will win the NFC East at 8-8, and I think next year, because I don't think they're going to win their playoff game. I think they'll play tough, but I think they're going to. I think they're going to end up getting away in this division at 8-8. Probably the worst division of football, the NFC East. But I will say, Washington's on the come up. I like a lot of what I see in Washington. And Alex Smith, who's a great story into himself, and we'll get to them later, has proved like if they can get some sort of, like I said, I don't know what they're going to do with Dwayne Haskins. It doesn't feel like Ron Rivera has a lot of faith in Dwayne. Maybe they're using this year to see if they can develop him. The quarterback class, like I said, I'm not as high on Trevor Lawrence as everyone else is, but the quarterback class coming out this year is actually decently deep of dudes that if you can develop them, put them in the right situations, they can be starters in the NFL and damn good ones. So I kind of feel for Dwayne because Dwayne probably should have ended up in a better position than being drafted by Washington. That was, I'm pretty sure that was an owner's pick. But yeah, back to the Cardinals and Giants. Defense is playing really well. The Cardinals defense has struggled along with a young quarterback who's going to be a phenomenon, but he's definitely struggled now in the latter part of the season. I'm going to go with the G-men here. Cowboys at Bengals. I would have been interested in this game if Joe Burrow was still playing. Since he's not, and no one should ever have any kind of faith in Ryan Finley. Sorry. I used to watch him in college. He's a poor man's Tim Tebow, except Tim Tebow found ways to win games. As I roll my eyes, if you're watching the YouTube live stream, Cowboys will probably win it and ruin all the Cowboys' hopes of dreams of somehow getting one of the top quarterbacks in the draft. The Cowboys have they're going to have some issues this offseason because if Jerry Jones keeps running his mouth and Dak decides not to come back, that team is pretty devoid of talent. And Jerry still thinks, or I won't say they're devoid of talent. That talent has not lived up, especially to their contracts. So I think Jerry's going to still try to win with this team. But really, if Jerry was 10 years younger, you would almost have to believe they got to blow this team up besides Ezekiel Elliott. The line is starting to get old. Like, you would have to consider it. But I think the Cowboys are going to win it, not because the Bengals are a bad team, but because they're starting Ryan Finley. So you got, I don't even want to talk about this game, but we have to. So you got my Jets against the Seahawks. Listen, man, I thought the last 2 weeks were incredibly winnable. I thought they were winnable games. and we failed. I don't know how we win this one. The only thing I can think is that the Seahawks don't take it seriously enough. They make stupid mistakes and they get caught on one. Greg Williams basically blitzed away a win. And I know he's done that before, but this is a situation you have to read it and understand. Your defense is already struggling in zone coverage to stop these guys, the Raiders. Your young quarterback, after you got him back the ball a couple times, did an amazing job of leading 2 drives to take the lead again against a potential playoff team in the Raiders. It'll probably be the Seahawks. I don't want to say the Jets are headed for a winless season, but it hurts. So it'll probably be the Seahawks. Colts at Raiders will be a great game. Unfortunately, Raider Nation, your luck runs out. The Colts are going to win this game. They can run the football. They can play defense. And Phillip Rivers is distributing the football very well and throwing play action pass very, very well. And your defense just struggles. They just do. The Raiders' defense is not very good this year. It hasn't been very good in a long, long time. So, unfortunately for the Las Vegas Raiders, I think you take the L here to the Colts. Packers at Lions. NFC North battles are always very good, but I'm going to go with the Packers. Even though the Lions have played better without Matt Patricia, um, the defense has definitely played better without Matt Patricia. That's just an indictment on him. I don't know if he gets another head coaching job. Hopefully, he learns a lot from his failures in Detroit. But the Packers get the win. The Lions. The one thing that would have helped the Lions is if they were a really good running football team against the Packers, but they don't run the football very well. And it's just asking a lot of Matthew Stafford again against actually a pretty good secondary in Green Bay. So I guess go Pack go. You guys are going to get the win here. Falcons at Chargers. I think the Chargers will actually get a bounce back win. I think it's going to be a great high scoring game. And if I'm the Falcons in the offseason, I got to get the right coach in there, and we got to try to build this defense a little bit more. Maybe get a little bit more protection on the line. Matt Ryan is starting to get up there in age, but he's still playing at an incredibly high level. He might be the next of the older quarterbacks to play until his 40s. They'd be blessed if he could. And you should probably protect him. Justin Herbert's going to be special. Once he can kind of get rid of this turnover bug that he's got so far as a rookie, you can just tell Justin Herbert's going to be special. LA, get behind these two football teams you now have back, especially the Chargers. I do think Anthony Lynn's going to get fired at the end of the year, and it sucks because I do think he's a good ball coach. This year just hasn't gone as hoped. They've lost games close in the last parts of games. Besides the Patriots loss last week, they really haven't been blown out much. They've always been very, very competitive, but they will get the win this week against the Falcons. I think that'll actually be a great game. Speaking of the Washington team I was talking about earlier, Washington and the 49ers. Once again, two very good defenses, two teams that can run the ball very well. Alex Smith will not turn over the football. Nick Mullins might. So I'm going to go with Washington. They're going to keep pace with the Giants for now. Next week, I think they will be in some trouble, but I think Washington gets win. I think number 3 or 4 straight here, but Washington gets the win here. Like I said, I'm interested to see. Like I said on my last show, the quarterback carousel for the quarterback carousel in the NFL in the offseason here is going to be very, very, very interesting. And I am kind of excited to see where all these quarterbacks end up. Saints and Eagles. It's going to be the Saints. Poor Jalen Hurts. Poor Jalen Hurts. Poor Jalen Hurts. He's in for a world of hurt. I feel horrible for him. It ain't going to go very well. He's going to be running around back there like a madman. The Saints are going to get the dub here. I'm sorry, Eagle fans. It's just they will have some very, very interesting things to address in the offseason. Because if no one's willing to if you're going to keep the head coach and no one's willing to take on Carson Wentz's contract, he's very expensive as a backup, and the cut is death to your salary cap for dead money. Because I believe there's talks that the NFL salary cap will actually go down for next year because of this situation that we're currently in. But yeah, the Saints are going to get that win. Steelers at Bills. It's going to be a great game. The Bills need to win it. I think the Steelers will win it. The Bills need to win this game, though, to kind of prove that they're one of the top teams in the AFC. Right now, they don't even really have the division unlocked. Miami is still on their tail. But it feels like they need to win this game. to prove that they're one of the best teams in the NFL. But I do think the Steelers will get the win. They'll bounce back and keep the 1 seed for now in the AFC. But because if you lose this game, I've already picked the Chiefs to win their game earlier in the day. Ooh, ooh. Ravens at Browns will be awesome. It's going to be a great game. The Ravens need the win. I would not be shocked if the Browns got the win. The Ravens need the win to stay in the playoff hunt. Who would have thought that they have to be a team that, by the way, they're still trying to play catch up to. They're 2 games behind the Browns in the division, who have Myles Garrett back. The defense is one of the best in the league, and it's one of the best running teams. If the Ravens force, Baker Mayfield to pass, can he do again what he just did to, I think, a pretty decent Titans defense? I don't know. Baker is really the wild card if the Browns are going to either compete for a Super Bowl or go home in the first round of the playoffs. So, okay. Oh, it looks like I lost my caller. That's okay. So yeah, I like this week of games, I should say. Like I said, a couple of the big ones, Vikings at Bucks, got a real good feeling about. But like I said, both teams need that win. They need that W, because they're both at this point. One of them is going to get that 7 seed, 6 or 7 seed. But if you back into it, the Vikings have a better chance of winning a wild card game, it feels like, because if they're in the 7th seed right now, they would play a Packers team that I don't think can beat them, because their Achilles heel is the run game, and the Vikings can run the football very, very well with Dalvin Cook and Alex Madison. The Packers do not want to see the Vikings if they're the 2 seed. Hell, I'm pretty sure if you're the Saints and you're a Saints fan, every time you've played the Vikings recently, especially in the playoffs, it has not gone very well. I don't think you want to see that team either, even though it doesn't have Danielle Hunter. The defense has still been playing very well, and Mike Zimmer finally figured it out. But the Buccaneers, man, this is a team everyone thought was going to go like 13-3, and just, them and the Saints would kind of be these top-heavy, dominant NFC teams. And the disconnect between Tom Brady and Bruce Arians, like I said, to me, if they can't win a playoff game, I think that's an indictment on Bruce Arians more than Tom Brady. Because you have a team that's built to be balanced. You got to run the football more. Like, I can't believe as a Jet fan I'm defending Tom Brady, but I am. You got to be able to run the football more. You should not be forcing a 43-year-old quarterback to throw it 50 times every game. Bruce Arians has got to get over his ego and make that work. Sorry, just a second. So, yeah, I think it's going to be a very interesting slate of games. Next week, I'm actually going to be looking into talking about the Champions League. Since they kind of were going a little later, I actually want to kind of give my overview of the league. So next week, this regular sports show will actually be a 2-hour show. Sorry to the caller for if you were holding on too long and you left. I will try to get to everyone a little bit better. Like I said, I've been kind of doing these hour and hour. Like to get through the main topics quick and then talk to people. I know no one actually likes to be on hold for that long. I get it. But yeah, so check out next week's show. Listen, I'm going to be trying to do these like every Friday, Saturday, 3 p.m. Central Standard Time, USA. Um, I will still be on the YouTube live stream, probably at least for another hour. Feel free to join me over there. Talk sports, talk whatever. Um, and yeah, for you wrestling fans, tomorrow will be an hour and a half show. I will be going over a preview of the wrestling world this week, talking a little NWA. Well, it's not Power anymore, but I'm going to be talking a little NWA comeback. So it's great to have them back. Talk talk a little bit about Floyd Mayweather and Logan Paul because I do not believe it deserved to be on this show today, but I do think I will be talking about it on that show tomorrow because though if you want to talk about it, feel free to join me on my YouTube stream. Trust me, we can talk about it. I got a lot to say about that. I got a lot to say about that. So, but for my radio guests, thank you for joining me. Like I said, I will still be on YouTube probably for about another hour or so. Also, feel free to find me on Twitch, twitch.tv/ the blackness 89. Yes, it's spelled out as it sounds. You twitch.tv/ TheBlackness 89. Tonight I will actually be doing a gaming stream, but the gaming streams are just a way for me to hang out with people virtually and things of that nature. So feel free to join the stream, follow that channel. Also, feel free to go ahead and give the YouTube page a like. I will also be starting to download clips, hopefully Mondays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays on the YouTube channel, just kind of giving my takes on things through the week. So, thank you for joining me. Wrestling fans, feel free to join me tomorrow. Wrestling, boxing, MMA fans, feel free to join me tomorrow. That show will be a little longer. Once again, 3 p.m. Central Standard Time here in the U.S. Next week, I plan on doing this normal sports show for 2 hours. So feel free to come, call in, write in on YouTube. It's going to be a fun time. Thank you for joining me. Much love to you. See you next week, guys. Like I said, if you still want to talk, feel free to join me on YouTube. Thank you for using Blog Talk Radio. Goodbye. All right. Now, strictly YouTube, partially Twitch as well. Actually, let me go ahead and get that all set up. Yeah, man. So, this Logan Paul Floyd Mayweather fight that they've kind of set up for February. Which, by the way, it was Jake who knocked out Nate Robinson for the culture, embarrassing all of us as black men. Letting him knock you the hell out like that, just come on, bro. Yeah, so Logan might actually get knocked out. Usually in the past, um, I have not ever known Floyd Mayweather as a fighter to be. He's more of a technician fighter. He's more of a a defensive fighter. Tire you out, win rounds, and then win fights overall because you can't touch him. He'll jab you, jab you, jab you, jab you, jab you, jab you. He's not really a knockout artist because those are pro boxers he has fought in the past. Pro boxers, okay? Guys who have been doing it their whole lives. Logan's in trouble. like, look, listen, he wins either way because he's going to get the views, he's going to get the big payday, and getting your ass whooped by Floyd Mayweather will actually teach you to be a better boxer. I'm sure of it. But you're biting off more than you can chew here. If he miraculously knocks Floyd Mayweather out, something a professional boxer couldn't do, I don't know what I'm gonna do with myself, man. I gotta be real. Like I cannot believe that it's unbelievable. It's really unbelievable overall. Um, I can't it's so I learned about this, of course, like y'all did earlier this week, um, and I was simply dumbfounded at the fact that one that Floyd even took the fight, right? Um, because my whole thing was like my whole thing was Floyd, you're kind of better than this. Why are you even taking this damn fight? Like, who cares? Like, you know what I mean? Like, who cares, right? Who cares? And then I started to think about it. And the more I thought about it, as a black man, the more I liked it. Because I'm like, good, humble, humble these dudes. Like, please humble these dudes. Because yeah, um I just I just I what I don't understand is how what I don't understand is how these dudes continuously like get this kind of like fame and notoriety and like what's the best word I can find here? They like it's just I guess I just don't understand it. And so when I heard about the fight, I'm like, good, good. Like he about to catch some real hands. But then I thought about it. I'm like, dude, they win either way. Like they win either way because they're still going to get a monster payday. People are already buying that fight because so many people want to see Floyd like take this kid to school. Oh, excuse me. They want to see this, Floyd take this kid to school and then probably knock him out in the second round. Something Floyd's not known for, but is very capable of when it comes to amateur like the Paul brothers. So yeah, man, I just been I just yeah, man, just mind blowing stuff really. And I just I kind of can't wait to see it. You know what I mean? Like I kind of cannot wait to kind of see what happens with that fight and to see what happens to him. Like I said, I think he's gonna get knocked the hell out. Floyd not even a knockout artist, but I actually do think he's gonna get knocked out pretty badly. He's it's but I'm excited for it, and I feel bad for feeling excited for the fact that he's fitting to catch pro hands. I'm super like I'm probably gonna buy the fight. Like I kind of want to see him knock the Paul brother the hell out, bro. I think it's gonna be a good time. Hell, I mean you probably can't have the fight up, blah blah blah. But I think I'm gonna do a live stream watch of it, a live stream reaction watch of that fight when it happens in February. Man, he gonna clean that kid's clock, and I cannot wait for it. Um, and I don't want Floyd to like hurt him permanently or nothing like that. I'm not evil or nothing like that. But like I would have taken a fight with one of the Paul brothers. I'm an amateur, but I mean, as you can see, I'm a big boy. It take a lot to bring me down. And listen, they got a little power to their game, and they do take the fight game very seriously. In all due respect to the Paul brothers, they do. But knowing that Floyd's gonna do it, especially in front of their fans, I'm all for it, people. I don't think you realize I am all for it. Like he gonna catch professional hands, man. It's gonna be good. It's gonna be good. Oh man, it's gonna be so good. Also, I wanted to talk about the current NBA season coming up here because it's odd. Usually, they're already playing and stuff, and we're already watching them play. But because of the pandemic and stuff, it all got moved, and they're starting later. Um, the Lakers repeating is actually not as much of a certainty as the fans and people like Shannon Sharp think. um, Depending now, I don't know when Clay's coming back for, or that's right, Clay's gonna be gone for the Warriors, but they'll still be kind of dangerous. Um, KD will be back for the Brooklyn Nets with Kyrie. By the way, as far as Kyrie, I heard about that situation and what he said about Braun. With Kyrie, man, it feels like it's just a ton of sour grapes. Like, bro, like people recognize you because you helped Braun win that championship in Cleveland. I don't think Braun ever meant no ill will, but you like this feels like he just harbors stuff so much, Kyrie, and it's just. And I think about like his stint in Boston, like, bro, they were better when you were hurt. So like, I don't know, man. Like, why are you taking those shots if you don't need to? Like, they're unnecessary. Like, it's so unnecessary. We all know you're great. We all know you're great. Just like I said, man, super duper unnecessary. And to be honest, I'm kind of I feel bad for KD. The first time ever, I actually feel bad for KD because I don't think he understands exactly what he's signing up for, and he's about to find out what he's signing up for. But then with them in the East, Toronto, um, we'll see what happens with Philly. Like I said, I still like New Orleans in the West, still like Denver in the West, Miami in the East. Um, it ain't gonna be as much of a cakewalk. Houston's only gonna get worse. I don't believe before the start of the season James Harden will actually be on the Houston Rockets. I believe it a lot less every day. Like I think they're going to end up trading him. If he goes to Brooklyn, I think we're on a collision course with one of the LA teams. To be fair, after what happened to the Clippers, I don't have much faith in them. Um, oh, Doc didn't get me the ball enough. Like, bruh, for real? Really? Really? That's what you're going with, man? Doc didn't get me the ball enough? You had one of the highest usage rates. What are you talking about? Man, what are you? So, and the Clippers organization, I believe, just gave Paul George a massive extension. They're literally tied to those two and hoping that those two can get a championship. And the fact that, like, I forget what it's called, but, basically, uh, uh, Kawhi just kind of like he paces himself the whole damn season. So, like, yeah, it'll be interesting to see. It doesn't look like there'll probably be much of an All-Star break. They probably won't even have an All-Star game this year since it's going to be somewhat of a short season. But I just wanted to get that off my chest because, like I said, I don't think it'll actually be as easy for the Lakers to repeat. It's just like the top of the conferences are very, very good this year. Um, do I believe they can repeat? Absolutely. I never doubt Braun. I never have doubted Braun. I've always been one of Braun's biggest fans, even when he, coming out of Akron, um, when he was originally drafted by Cleveland. But it's going to be a good season. It's going to be a real, real good season. Well, like I said, I will be back streaming in a little bit on Twitch, twitch.tv/theblackness89. Feel free to subscribe to this channel, where I'm going to actually start posting daily content. Not daily, but I'll probably set up a schedule right now for like Tuesdays and Thursdays for content to go up. Be recorded when I'm not busy on weekends, or previous before, yada, 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 yada. Yeah, feel free to subscribe, hit the bell notification. Thank you for joining me. Hopefully, I'll see you on the Twitch stream later. Peace.